Thank you so much for joining my LinkedIn Live. My name is Makeda Waterman, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the power of having a cybersecurity team, whether you have a startup, you have a small department that holds a lot of customer, employee data, vendor data, etc., and why this is a bigger issue, I think, with a lot of organizations than you can imagine right now. The pandemic, I believe, really pushed cybersecurity as a bigger conversation with regards to cyber attacks and things that have been happening as a result, I'm sure, of the economic downturn. There are a lot of people who have tech skills and are unfortunately using their skills to do bad things. But there's also a lot of organizations that are vulnerable that do not have cybersecurity. Maybe they have an IT service desk or a help desk, but that is not necessarily helpful as a separate entity for cybersecurity. So let's get into it. So some of the, well, actually, let's talk a little bit about my experience and how I know this topic. I am a consultant. I do technical writing and branding, but today we're going to focus on cybersecurity. I've been supporting organizations with cybersecurity as a consultant since 2018. A number of different organizations that I've supported focused on penetration testing, whether it was for web apps, software, network infrastructure, or cloud, Microsoft Azure to be specific. Or I just have helped organizations put together documents like disaster recovery plans that if their systems were to shut down, that they can use that document to recover their platform, their data center, whatever the situation might be, whether it's a really senior IT representative or maybe just a customer service rep, if they have the functionality to do that. So now we can get into it. So the benefits of having a cybersecurity team on the clock, and you're probably telling yourself, well, how am I going to have a team of people working 24/7? And one of the benefits, without naming any organizations that I've noticed, is many of them have cybersecurity professionals across different time zones, whether they're in South America, whether they're in Brazil, which is in South America, whether they're in Canada or the US, Asia, etc. And this really helps if you have a big organization, or maybe you store a lot of data and have the revenue to have international staff, so that your team is working on the clock, whether you're sleeping as a director or as a manager or not. So having teams in different time zones, meaning different time zones within your country, different time zones across the globe, is very beneficial. I mean, things happen when businesses close. It doesn't mean that there won't be no threats happening with your infrastructure. And that's why, again, you can use AI, but it's really good to have an international team, different time zones to watch your servers, etc. Other benefits to having a cybersecurity team is that they can put this data, they can test your infrastructure, your apps, your software, and see if there are any open holes where attackers can come into your platforms, get access to your data, watch your employees while they're working, etc. And they can put this information in reports and also in CMS or different platforms, logging the date they did the test on your infrastructure, the results that they got, and whether it was a low, a medium, a high, or a critical vulnerability, and recommendations for your team. So let's just take, for example, let's paint a picture here. You have a new website that's about to launch in the next 3 to 4 months, and your internal team and the entire company is super excited about this, but your cybersecurity team is going to say, oh, hold up, we have to do some testing on your website before you launch it, because there could be open holes, vulnerabilities, areas that can be, I guess you can say broken into. I'm going to use some layman's terms here, broken into, if you don't do some kind of a test, or we can do an audit before you launch that website. And so then you have the team doing this work, actually, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you decide to procure resources, meaning employees or contractors or freelancers for a cybersecurity team for your startup or company, I'm going to tell you that 100% of the platforms and technology they test, they're not going to be able to always prevent your company from being attacked or having viruses, etc. cybersecurity, in my opinion, it's an organizational, it's a foundational thing that every employee, whether they work in technology teams in your company or not, it's initiative that is done across the board throughout your organization. But people can make mistakes. Your team or your employee can get an email thinking it's from you, click on something, download it, and now you have spyware, or you have malware, or a virus that could totally wipe out a lot of data and a lot of functionalities within your organization from a technology standpoint. So it's really important to know that, yes, you can have a cybersecurity team, but they're not going to prevent everything. But it is also their responsibility to keep getting certifications and keep taking courses, reading news and forecasts to know what's going on, that they're in the loop, that they're coming back to you with, this certain vulnerability in this particular app is taking place, and we have the app, so now we have to do XYZ to do risk management, etc. Other than that, I think I covered it for the most part. And now, so let's talk about disaster recovery plans. So a disaster recovery plan is basically a piece of document that allows an employee within your organization, whether they work in tech or not. Let's take, for example, there's a man-made disaster, a hurricane, and it wipes out your entire platform. Let's say a software that's used internally to actually process payments and things like that. You can only imagine how much issues your organization is going to have if you don't have a data center that is offsite or in the cloud, which way you're going to do it, that holds that customer data or there's that transactional data. Or some organizations, unfortunately, when things like this happen, they just get their cybersecurity or their tech team together and they recover applications without documentation. But this has been a real issue for some organizations. I'm not going to say any particular names, but there have been airlines that were out of business. Small businesses especially are very, very vulnerable to going bankrupt without a disaster recovery plan. And we're not talking about the expected things that your tech team or your service team or your cybersecurity team can fix. We're talking about things that are not on your radar, that might have not happened within your industry yet, that can really set back your company from having downtime, meaning your employees, they can't use that software, they can't use that platform because it's down, and now they're sitting there and you're still paying them, right? Because your tech team can recover these platforms and applications, and your employees can get back to work within a certain period of time. But if you don't have a disaster recovery plan for the unexpected, that can raise a lot of issues with reputation. There's reputational aspects to it. There are different aspects of work productivity going down and you not being able to make profits that you're hoping for that particular day because you have to send contractors or employees home, or they're not really doing anything, so they're rolling their thumbs, kind of waiting for that important app or software to come back online so they can service customers. It can be a real mess, and not having these kind of plans on record can really be a disadvantage to your organization financially, reputation-wise, etc. Now, let's take a look here. So the other thing that I want to say too is you can have a cybersecurity team, you can have a disaster recovery plan on hand, but I really think the power is in knowledge. And in some of the organizations that I've worked with, they don't just expect their cybersecurity teams to get certifications outside, but they also offer training. And depending on your organizational budget, quite often organizations can give their cybersecurity, whether they're penetration testers or whether they are, I don't know, a director, they can actually pay for courses or recompensate their team for courses that are done internally. And of course, as an organization, especially if you're international, you probably most likely have those, phishing and, different kind of courses that you can give people during downtime, or annual courses that are required for employees and contractors to do, and making sure that information is up to date is really important. So now let's talk about cybersecurity forecasts that I was able to find on the internet. So according to Tyler Moffitt, I believe he works at Open Tech Security Solutions. He has forecasted that cybersecurity attacks on small businesses are going to increase because I guess bad people who have access to do these kind of things, they fully are aware that a lot of small businesses don't have the financial backing to have a cybersecurity team, or they're like, well, when it happens, then we'll get a team, or when it happens, then we'll supply a vendor who can support our servers, etc. Right? So with that being said, it really leaves small businesses very vulnerable to different AI technology that can come about within the next couple minutes, within the next days. So if all my small business owners on the line, or if you work for a small business, maybe this can be a conversation for you as an operational improvement to let them know that, hey, there are forecasts that, small businesses are going to be very open to attacks more than larger organizations that have these kind of tech teams in-house, and maybe you should consider a vendor, hiring people, etc. Now, according to a Gartner security report, by 2025, half of cybersecurity leaders will change jobs due to work stress. So to everybody on the line who wants to get into cybersecurity, I would sit here and say that in Canada and the US, there is a shortage of talent. And it's not because of the pandemic and the Great Resignation. I think that might have to do with a lot of it, but cybersecurity has always been kind of an industry where there's a lot of competition from an employee or consultant standpoint, where there's different companies who have large budgets, especially if they're ranging in cybersecurity, dealing with or artificial intelligence, or infusing the both. Most of these companies have pretty good budgets to pay out contractors or employees. So on the employee side, it's great, but on the employer side, there's not enough talent to go around to help. And I do believe that as a result of that, I think that companies will then start using AI to fill in those spaces. But if you're on the line and you're watching and you're looking to change into fields, this is definitely an opportunity, especially now, to get into cybersecurity by taking certifications. Can't refer you to anybody personally, but there are a lot of people on YouTube that have these kind of like how to become a information developer, how to become a web designer. They have these kind of trainings online for free and also paid as well. Also too, it's showing here that by 2025, 30% of international countries will pass tighter laws for cybersecurity, for example, ransomware. And this, again, it creates a great opportunity for those that want to get into this industry, maybe transitioning, or maybe you want to up your skills and become, I don't know, maybe a CISO or an information security manager, or work in information management and technology in some capacity. I'm noticing on TikTok, there's a lot of conversations now about becoming a data analyst. Google just launched a free, it's not necessarily free, but if you do it through Coursera, Google has a data analyst certification. I think it takes a couple of weeks to get it, but I'm seeing a lot of that conversation now on TikTok, where people are, like people in tech are encouraging people to become data analysts, because it's kind of like an open area of a lack of talent, but organizations need it. So you can check that out if you're interested. And then, so that stat was also from the Gartner security report. Now, the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics is suggesting that between 2021, which has passed, to 2031, that there will be job growth of about 35% in the cybersecurity space, which again opens a door for someone like yourself, if you're on the line, to get into this get into this workforce. I think for myself, consulting in well, I would say in tech in general, I really, really love working with brilliant minds. If you really like being around highly efficient, highly successful, highly ambitious people, tech is where it's at. I just love being able to go into a meeting and talk with people who are really on the game and very open-minded, and they come to meetings with high-level ideas, and it just feels almost like you're in a business, even though you're working obviously with employees. It really feels like a lot of the people come with also like a business aspect, even though they might not be entrepreneurs, which is something that makes me really excited. The other thing that I like about working in tech is like a director, you most likely, depending on what you do, you most likely are going to report to a director. And then there might be like an operations manager or another director or a CISO, which is like an executive version of someone in technology. And I really also like working directly with leaders because they have like a very future mindset, and they're always open to hearing creative ideas and seeing the team grow. And I really like the aspect of working in tech. But overall, I do believe that there still will be organizations who will have the mindset that, well, it hasn't happened. We haven't had an issue with our systems going down, so we're not going to invest all this in tech. When it happens, then we'll worry about it. And as any tech person on the line, this is especially in these days and times with AI and advancements in technology by the minute, in my opinion, by the minute, not by the day. It's a very problematic way to look at things, because yeah, maybe nothing might happen, but if on that day that something happens to your organization and it wipes out your systems, now you have to shut down your customer service center, or you have to tell your customer service reps to tell customers, sorry, we can't access this because our systems are down. You know, you can also lose customers as a result of not taking this cybersecurity thing seriously. I don't have any case studies for you to share. I just wanted to share those forecasts to show you how important it is for a job market perspective to hire people, and from a security perspective to protect your company, that it's an ongoing process. Technology is going to change, you know, different things that negatively impact a company's platform or systems, that's going to change because technology is moving so quickly. And just having that cybersecurity team and not depending on your service desk to have these kind of skill sets, it's a great way to get ready for the future as well, because these cybersecurity professionals, a lot of them are really passionate about what they do. Not all, but majority of them, from my experience, are very passionate. So they're listening to podcasts and they're reading blogs and they're on Twitter following some of the biggest names in tech as far as subject matter experts are concerned, and they're coming to work every day or startups every day, and they're giving feedback about, this is what happened to an organization similar to ours. This is the software that we also have that organization had. Maybe we should, you know, decommission this software or platform and get this because it has better security features in the back end. Like, these are the high level conversations that maybe a small service desk won't be able to have if you just depend on them for your security, versus having real cybersecurity specific niche down professionals in your startup or organization providing you feedback, so on and so forth. And I know I had a part about how to set up your team based on, in the description of this event, based on if you're a small organization or a large organization. And I don't really want to give any feedback on that because it just really depends on the industry you're in, the amount of data that you're holding of your customers and your employees, your products and your services. I can't get very niche down on that, and I don't want to tell you, oh, maybe you should get a penetration test team, but maybe you might not need that, right? So maybe speaking to some kind of a tech consultant or speaking to your service desk team and having a brainstorming session and having that first conversation, or even doing a survey with your customers, your clients, and your or prospective customers, and ask them, what concerns do they have with their safety in an AI world, in a tech dependent world? What are their concerns with choosing a company for this service or this product? And then you can go from there and just have a real high level conversation about how to keep your organization protected, whether you as a director, a CEO, a founder are sleeping or not. So I really hope this live stream was helpful. I'm seeing a lot of information about these topics. I know last week I had a whole thing about AI and how to prevent yourself from losing your job. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have upcoming conversations about tech, but anything that I see that's trending in the tech space or in the building your reputation space or even crisis management space where something happens to your organization or something comes out to the public that is not supposed to come out, and it now is impacting your, that crisis management aspect of things that sometimes marketing teams, communications teams, they just can't figure this stuff out. I will do my best to continue every week to come up with these topics so that you can bring something fresh and new to your organization or whatever the case may be. So if you do have any questions or want to add any statistics that you're familiar with in cybersecurity from a forecasting perspective, or you want to let people know how it feels to work in tech, leave a comment below. Everybody that's watching that's not in my connections or not following the platform, click the follow button, click the connect button, and if you have any upcoming ideas that I can cover, from AI to cybersecurity to building your reputation internally, online, or in your actual offline community, let me know in a message or a comment, and I'll see if it is something that I believe everybody can benefit from. Thank you so much for your time. Stay safe and have a wonderful weekend. Take care.